What's going on, people? Happy Monday. Welcome to United View. Welcome to the full view. Is that an extra sound, or was that you? Was that you doing that extra bit?
I did it with the soundboard. Did you hear this one? Did you hear that?
Yeah, but it's because you went shh with it. It gave it an extra. Yeah. I like that little booster.
Yeah.
Like
the Nubian Pharaoh is my reaction to Owen's voice changer, basically.
That's your gong. Yeah. I do like it. Big up to KG, big up to Minna, big up to Owen, big up to Kenny, big up to Marcel, who's having some technical difficulties. Some technicals. We don't know where he is. Hopefully he'll show up at some point. I'm
not late, by the way. I'm not late.
No,
because
KG was second here today. I can confirm that he was second here.
KG was not late. Guys, we got a lot to talk about in today's show. As you can see there in the title, everyone for sale, some big pieces coming out in the media, which we're going to get to as the basis of today's show. But you lot know what it is. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel, get involved and have your say, man, because the last, all season really, but especially now towards the end, it's getting very techie. A lot of people have a lot of opinions. People are butting heads. It's not going to plan. People aren't seeing the same things. It's insane. It's insane. So, but without any further ado, Owen, what's gone on today? Because there's been some serious things been said.
Yes, there have been some serious things been said. So the first comes from the Telegraph from James Ducker, who said that Manchester United are prepared to listen to offers for the majority of the first team squad, bar rising stars like Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho and Rasmus Højlund. INEOS are thought to be ready to adopt an ultra-flexible approach to this summer's transfer window, given Manchester United's tight financial constraints and likely loss of Champions League revenue. They are prepared to listen to offers for the majority of the first team squad. But as I said, there are people that are off this list. The likes of Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, Rasmus Højlund will be strictly off limits in the summer transfer window. But one name, when you say everyone for sale gets brought up, is Marcus Rashford. And this is where it does get very interesting, because James Ducker is saying that although they're not actively seeking to offload a player like Marcus Rashford, for example, it is understood Manchester United would give genuine consideration to a credible offer for the forward, particularly if he indicated a desire to pursue a fresh challenge. And that was essentially then co-signed by David Ornstein, who said the same, saying Manchester United would consider selling Marcus Rashford if a substantial offer arrives and he tells the club he wants to leave. Again, however, the Premier League club are not proactively looking to sell the England international, who has more than 4 years remaining on his contract at Old Trafford. United's preference is to keep the 26-year-old and work with him to get him back to his best and help him return to the form of the previous years. So everyone for sale, like the $1 Million Man would say, everybody's got a price. Yeah, everyone's got a price apart from like 3 people. That's essentially the territory that we're in. And I guess that's music to the fans' ears, is it not?
Guys, discuss. Take it away. KG, what are you saying?
Oh man, it's gonna happen, isn't it? I have to prepare myself for he could potentially one day be in an Arsenal shirt or a PSG shirt, but I have to prepare myself for all eventualities just to make it not hurt as much. But if he's doing Kai Havertz settings and doing this, that's gonna be really difficult. Again, because the narrative's there that we've hounded Rashford out. And there are some people will be able to say that, they've called him trash. He hasn't, there's that thing about appreciation. While I still see him as one of our own, but this is everything's adding up. Remember when I was talking to you on the last show when I said, guys, this was a come and get me plea. And now the club has also doubled down with come and get me, Fabrizio, David Ornstein, but they're saying come and get me, but there's value here. So it's not like we really want him to go, but it's like he's kind of transfer listed almost. We're open. They're trying to hedge their bets, but I definitely feel like this club is basically saying we're ready to move on. And enough's enough means enough's enough. So I think this is a group decision, maybe. And yeah, we're here. Is
that what you took from that he might actually be leaving? Because I literally took it as the opposite.
Yeah, I was opposite. Yeah.
I took it as the opposite. With them saying, well, United's preference, I looked at it as well, every player's got a price, basically. They're sort of saying, well, of course.
That's all about
there was a lot of caveats there, to be honest.
No, but the main thing
right
was
price if he wants to leave. And also they're very much stressing, but we want to work with him. We want to keep him getting back to his best.
That's the last bit. That's the last bit. That the main part of it was Man United are willing to listen to offers for someone they just gave a 4-year contract to. It's different, bro. The whole thing is he's quite upset. He's had the words of past legends, the words of Gary Neville and Rio Ferdinand, those are credible, that holds weight. And if they're not happy and your brother's going out tweeting, then you get booed by the Man United faithful at Wembley. Like, well, how much more do I need to do? This is the waving flag to other clubs. It's a light wave, but basically, hey, we don't mind negotiating. That's what we're basically saying, and that's across the board. So let's prepare ourselves, because him coming and doing and scoring 2 goals against us and doing the thingy celebration is gonna touch spiritually. It'll hurt. It's gonna hit different, especially if it's up. Oh, Jesus.
And, it would have been very easy in that statement to add Rashford to the list of the other 3. So they could have easily said Haaland, Mainu, Rashford, and Garnacho, couldn't they? But they didn't. And I think the reason is because they see it as we see it. You've got to be realistic from the point of view that with financial fair play, United probably going to offload about £1 million a week in wages. So if you look at Sancho's wages, you look at Rashford's wages per week, you look at Greenwood's wages, you're probably in excess of 600,000 already. If you know, rumours are supposed to be true, they're on £200,000 and £300,000 a week. So by the time they've got rid of a few others whose contracts have run out or are about to run out, or people they don't want to renew, they're probably looking at a figure of around £1 million a week to save. And if you look at what we're going to lose with regards to income from Europe alone, then they're going to have to do that. There's no choice. There's no choice, because these players are unaffordable. If you look at Chelsea, for an example, Chelsea already know that they're going to be facing penalties next year simply because of the contracts that they've signed. And those people's contracts that they've signed were based on these 8-year contracts. A lot of them were based on European Football, Champions League.
And selling of a hotel, Kenny. There's loopholes to be found, Chelsea. Well, I don't find a loophole.
But you know, and this is the realism of financial fair play. It's coming home to roost, and it'll come home to roost at Old Trafford next year. Because what we're also looking at as well, we're now in our 2nd of 3rd year where we've no Champions League football. We've signed 2 major sponsorship deals with shirt manufacturers and etc. and other people. So all of a sudden, all these penalties, because if you get a shirt contract with Adidas or Nike or wherever, if you went in the Champions League, you're losing money because they're losing money. That's why they signed you. That's why they give you the 600 million over so many years, because they want you in, you know, right at the forefront of football. We ain't got it. So they have to save massive money. And the way you do it, sell your stars. You've no choice.
Bring and buy sell at Man United. When I read that, I thought he's not going anywhere. The first thing I thought was he ain't going anywhere. I can't see it. But it does. Why I was happy, it does show that everyone has a price. If someone puts some serious money down, it doesn't mean that he's off the table, untouchable by any means. That they're not saying that. They essentially have put a price on his head, but we don't know what it is. It just has to be significant. So I don't know, if I'm just guessing and just throwing numbers out there just for the sake of just doing it, let's say someone offered 85 million.
Take it.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's significant money, isn't it? Like, serious money. So, or like even like 75, 80, you have to look. You have to start. You have to say, right, Marcus, someone has put in a bid for you. What are you saying here? And then if he goes, well, let me look. Because they said if he tells us he wants to leave as well, So KG's, I hear what KG's saying there. Like, they could have easily just said he's untouchable.
Well.
He's our star boy. We just give him a new deal. He's through the academy, but they've gone. He's got a price, and if he tells us he wants to leave, he's off limits. So, but I do think he will want to stay. First of all, before we carry on, get to Minna, get to Marcel, get to everyone. Huge super chat. I mean, 200. Is that US? Does that say US?
Yeah,
$200, $200.
Oh man, Kenny.
Yeah.
Old man Kenny.
Crash illustration says, "Old man Kenny, I can't control my emotions when United play flex. Owen the Destroyer, depressed Kevin. I've got nothing left, Gary and Minna. Big ups to everyone and the reckless delegation." Marcel, this
let's
is before.
go.
They probably didn't know.
Big up, same way. Big up, same way, though.
Yes,
I
absolutely.
prefer wise man Kenny, not old man Kenny. Wise man.
I don't mind. I don't take offence. Don't worry.
Eric Kenhag. That's what it is.
Eric,
I'm not talking to Marcel because I wanted to kill Marcel the other day. I wanted to strangle Marcel for the first time.
Hold on, one sec, KG, before you go. Ugo says that is an indication United want to sell. It is clear. It's clear that they want to sell. But carry on, KG.
Your friends.
Yeah, I wanted to kill Marcel.
Yeah, carry on threatening Marseille. What was you gonna say?
I wanted
In it, Flex. What the hell? The other day I was flexing KG, you were saying that I'm blessed, and now you're saying you want to kill me.
No, but Marcel, it was that like I was losing it in that thing, and there was so much going on, and I was trying to remain cool, but I couldn't remain cool. I was watching rubbish football, and anytime something was happening in the game, you'll be like, who's that on? Who's responsible for that? And another side will be like, that's on the manager. And then afterwards, be back and forth here, and I'm still seeing rubbish football. Then all you're saying is, tell me when it's the manager's fault. Let me know at what moment is this the manager's fault. Bro, I was dying.
Hey, KG, don't be so emotional. I thought we know it was going to be bad. Why are we being so emotional? I thought we should manage our expectations because we know it's going to be going bad. 2 seconds later, I saw you walk off set. I saw you do a diva stomp and walk off set going, I've got to get off the set at the moment.
Exactly.
You can't blame me for that. You can't blame me for those actions.
I was trying, but I couldn't get past that bit. I'm not going to lie to you. The back and forth, because we was having the same argument for 90 minutes. Like 90 minutes, and the football was still shit. In the whole thing, it's like it was rubbish football and the same argument, and it weren't getting anywhere. And it's not like at the end, if let's say Marcel was right, it didn't mean he's gonna get a 4-year contract at the end of it. Then if let's say let's say Micah's right, they weren't gonna sack him at the touchline. So it's just a pointless argument while we're still being shit in the moment.
Yeah.
It wasn't pointless. It wasn't pointless. It was exuberatingly, accentuating a point consistently.
Come on, Marcel.
So,
two massive words immediately.
Until the point was made very clear, KG, I had to consistently show them the point, about the structural integrity of the team. It was less of that, more of the quality of the player. So that was what that was happening.
Marcel, I need to, at a minute, feel free to come in on this. I don't know if you've seen this, Minna. I think it's on UV Raw. The
argument between you and Marcel.
When I just heard Carlo Ancelotti's name. I just heard his name, and Marcel just went on a tangent as to why Ten Hag has parallels with Carlo Ancelotti. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But actually, Marcel, I want you to. KG said I was going to kill you. All that. Where you got me was it was after everything was done. When you said the Ancelotti thing, what did you say again?
So I've explained a little bit of this, I think, to Minna before, in the sense of the difference between De Zerbi and Ten Hag, in the sense of one is a extremely, in terms of the structural football that you speak of, Flex, with De Zerbi, it's very much pinpoint to the degree, to the blade of grass where the footballer has to stand to set up the plays. Whereas with Ten Hag, it's up to interpretation. It's up to interpretation. I think we've spoken about that before, Minna, right, to a degree. So all I was saying is that Ten Hag and Ancelotti are of that school. That's all I was trying to say, essentially. They're more of that school of they have a set of the instructions and there's availability to interpretate the instructions that said manager gives. And Jude Bellingham speaks of this. Jude Bellingham has spoken on how Ancelotti does this. And I think Ten Hag has also spoken about how he gives it up to the players to interpretate to a degree what happens on the pitch, and they have responsibility to do this.
It's going to be really pedantic, but it's interpret, not interpretate. That's just that.
I have my own idiolect, so as long as you understood it,
That's just,
it
was the first time. It's just the second time.
as long as you understood
Well,
it,
yeah, it's just
so
you know.
it landed. It landed. The plane landed because you understood it, and everyone else did.
Yeah,
So
but it's not a word.
I'm creating my own language.
We can't. You know.
Who says that?
But
Who's in control of that?
People speak in the normal language. That's how people
No, because
say
you
it.
understood it. You understood it.
Wait,
Yeah, but it's wrong.
There's no such thing as right or wrong when you understand
There is.
what the meaning of what I said meant.
I said to Marcel, I said, you lost me when you said Carlo Ancelotti. I don't understand what parallel. I took that home with me, Marcel. I was driving and I went, why did Marcel compare Eric Ten Hag's situation now with Carlo Ancelotti, one of the greatest ever managers the game's ever seen? I just don't. Now you've explained that. I'm not any closer to understanding why. I just don't. What was your point again? What I don't understand.
I get what he's saying.
What's he saying?
It's the interpretation of the integrity and the reconfiguration of the respiration and the upregulation in ordination. That's what he means.
You got
that is it.
Interpret it properly, Mina.
Interpret.
I thought, Mina, I actually was listening to you for a
I
long
thought
time.
she was going to explain.
No, I
So,
do get.
okay.
I understand because me and Marcel have had this debate quite a few times,
Right.
and he's explained to me his viewpoint. The fact that Ancelotti and Ten Hag, his comparison is there is no leg room to maneuver their style of football. KG just went back to the 1800s for a second.
So sorry, I'm just trying to sort out my
Playing with the
life.
lights.
Yeah.
I get what you say. Saying Ancelotti, Ten Hag, there's no room for their school of football. Players know where to be at what time. Now, I think it's actually quite contradictory because
No,
Man United players don't know where to
the other
be.
way, man.
Oh, you're saying
there
it's
is
the
room
other
for
way?
interpretation. You mean? You mean
Ancelotti and De Zerbi are from the same school.
no. So Ancelotti and Ten Hag are from the same school in terms of there is room for interpretation. They play closer to total football. You can manipulate where you are on the football pitch. Whereas the Zerbi, it's very fixed, is what I was saying.
Okay, sorry, bro, you lost me. I was trying to fight your corner, but I don't think I can.
No, well, you said
Yeah,
it
I
right
don't think
until you said that there's no room for interpretation. All you
But
have
then
to
when
do
you
is
said
change it
that-
around to say that there is room for interpretation.
But when you said
So
that,
it's the
about
opposite of
all
what I
this-
said.
Yeah, that's all.
I said to you, Marcel, I was like, well,
Please.
talk about tactics. One of the greatest managers ever in the world went to Man City with the Galacticos and Bellingham and, Vinicius and said, fuck that, mate. Listen, you ain't going to beat these by running around like lunatics, mate. Going to have to sit off these here and suffer. Be a bit more difficult to break down. Big Real Madrid, biggest thing in the world. And to me, that showed tactical flexibility. And
Yes.
he's someone who has some serious principles of other things. Okay, fair enough. Players are more free. Jude's got the license and stuff. But there was still certain games, and they're got so many
Ten
European
Hag's done that
trophies.
as well. Sorry to cut you. Ten Hag's done that as well. So against the Giants, you have to do that. But and on any given game for Ancelotti, it's free flowing. They're superstars. Go and play and express. That's the exact same way that Ten Hag wants to play football. Go and express yourself. Here's the structure, but go and express. Now,
Okay.
now you've seen that with how Ten Hag does it. Ten Hag against the Giants, against City away from home, he's done exactly what you just described there, Fleck. No shadow of a doubt. He at the beginning, though, when we got smacked 6-3, he tried to go machine for machine within his structure, and we got smacked against City. We were there at the ground. You know what I'm saying? But as he's gone on throughout his tenure, he has done that's when Rashford just scored the rocket the other day. He was playing counter-attack. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he's done that. He's shown tactical flexibility. It's literally just the quality of footballer that we are suffering with right now. But
that's the bit we would argue, because you're saying it's not him. It's the lack of quality, like you say, in the footballer. It's not a lack of what Ten Hag's doing. It's the lack of the players that he has available. That's why we wouldn't see it.
Well, I feel like you don't like the style of football, which is just something that lots of people are not going to like the style of football. But what Ten Hag's trying to do is extremely risky. Yes. So I can give you. So I don't know how many people have seen this example, but there's an example where Ruud Gullit, a world-class footballer of the game, is speaking on Ten Hag's way of playing football. I don't know if I even sent it to you, Fleck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
I've seen that.
Ruud Gullit, by the way, a goat of the football in terms of in the central areas of the pitch, can play up front, can play in the middle, can play DM. Most probably could play goalkeeper if he wanted to. He's that good at football. But he was trying to tell Ten Hag that you need more players in the central areas. You know, you need another one in there. Ten Hag likes to play the 3-1-6 or the 3-2-5, but with, you know, so many footballers committing to the forward line, you know, in these scenarios, we usually have a situation where our footballers, because they don't have the IQ and they don't have the hunger for the rest defense in terms of, you know, going back and protecting their goal, we have situations where Ten Hag basically wants 3 footballers defending the width of the 2 posts. That and usually he wants them to step up and make the tackle, like that Maguire example that Michael was outlaying to us in the game. He wants one of those 3 footballers to step up and attack the player, not to run backwards towards their goal and defend their goal. But that's not a huge situation, because if they're standing in between the 2 posts, Flex, that means the opposition have to go around the 3 footballers or get shots in between those 3 footballers. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is his way of mitigating the onslaught or the clear cut open opportunities. That's why Ten Hag will say to you, well, look, 20 shots, it doesn't matter. I have 3 footballers guarding this particular counter attack or guarding this particular situation.
But that does matter though.
Yeah,
that means it's not
working.
working.
Well, Fleck. Sorry, Kenny. Just give me. Well, Fleck. This is what you call the process. Every manager has their own story, their own belief, their own ethos of in which how to configure 11 footballers on a football pitch. And the story or the process is to upregulate them. And then you get a world-class set of footballers that do it. And then you'll see them operate it better than what you currently see. Am I wrong in saying that?
Marcel, let me tell you what I've just watched. I have just seen probably one, if not the highest paid squad of footballers in Europe, right, been outplayed by 3 championship teams. Coventry are in the championship. Sheffield United came up from the championship and are going back down. And at the weekend, we saw Burnley, who's just come up. They're going back down. And we couldn't control any of those games of football against them. In fact, on 2 of the occasions, we was quite lucky to win the game, right? You know that and I know that. Now, I watched with my own eyes on Saturday, because I was at the ground. I thought, I'm going to watch here now. I'm going to see how he sets this team up and what happens, this, that, and the other. And I saw Vincent Kompany, who's had them players, brought them from the championship, right? And they looked a better squad of footballers on the pitch, right? And the reason being was they all knew what job they had to do. And it was they were very, very easy on the eye. Very easy on the eye. And you could see when players were stepping up, when they were in possession, when they were out of possession, what position they would look. And they never really looked uncomfortable at any stage in the game. I couldn't believe it. I'm watching Man United. I'm watching a winger in Anthony have 7 shots on goal, right? And up to him scoring, I thought he was poor up to him scoring, I'll be honest. I'm watching a winger have 7 shots on goal, and we're centre forward has 1 shot. Now, for me, there's something not right there. There is something not right. You've got a lad there who's then takes the centre forward off, and within 5 minutes, 3 crosses come across, 2 from Bruno, 1 from Casemiro, and there's nobody in the middle. Now, for me, that's your manager. That's how he sets the team up. All this about, well, it's free. They've got license to do this. No, they haven't. He should be coaching them playing, saying, this is how we play. This is where that ball goes to. Because when I watched Vincent Kompany's team at weekend, and I've watched other players, I watched Ivan Toney 2 weeks ago. Ivan Toney had 7 shots on goal against us. Every one of those shots, he was facing the goal and in line with the goal and running onto it. Rasmus Højlund never gets that. So I'm not having this freedom to express themselves is good, bad, or whatever. he should be ripping into Anthony. He should be ripping into the other players and saying, "Luke, ball on the floor, pass in front of him, stop shooting, stop cutting inside, etc., etc." So, and I'm not having as better if we have better footballers. These footballers from Manchester United that are in the squad, they haven't been dragged from some Sunday League team and all of a sudden they've made the grade. These kids, but they've been playing with a football at the feet from probably 5, 6, 7 years of age in the academy. They know how to play football. For me, if there's issues at Old Trafford with the players, it's a mental issue. There's a mentality issue about the weight of the badge, the weight of the shirt, the expectation levels, whatever. I don't know. But I'm not having as they're bad footballers. Because when they go away and play for the country, they're all good footballers. The World Cup winners. They've won European championships. So I'm not having this about, when you get better footballers. You're not going to get better footballers. You're not.
You are.
Well, you're going to get. Who are you going to get at Manchester United? You've just paid 70, 80 million for Mason Mount. He's fit. He's fit to play. It brings him on with 2 minutes left of the game. Text. Do you see where I'm coming from? So who's that down to? Is that down to the person that's bought him or the manager?
Go on. Yeah, go for it. And then after this, I want to hear. No, Marcel, he's asking you a question straight back. After, I want to hear from Minna. Go for it.
So for me, how I explain this, Kenny, is because you've named the Burnley game, then you've named the Coventry game, 2 different stories. In every football match, there's a story. So what happened in the Coventry game is we had majority of the football, and then in the Burnley game, there was a game where we couldn't even get out the build-up phase. So 2 different stories happened in those football matches. So in the Coventry game, we had our Ten Hag system and our style of football. We tried to go around the defensive line of the 5, and we were offering them a lot of space in behind. So that was our issue. We were getting on the counter charge.
Marcel, you're making excuses for them. This is the issue. Sheffield United, a goal difference of -59. A goal difference of -59.
And what we do with all these stories, by the way? Can we just say about these stories? Eric Ten Hag with the story.
Everybody else, every other club puts them to the sword.
What do we do with these stories?
It's an analogy, Owen, for me to explain how football matches pan out within 90-minute timeframes.
But you know what? I'm tired.
All I'm simply saying is that within a 90-minute time frame, there's a way that a football match pans out, and that even though you're trying to still enact your system and style of football, Owen, you can explain what happens within that story if I was allowed to explain. By the way, Kenny, instead of Kenny picking out the Coventry or the Burnley game, he went to the one that I didn't even describe, which was in the middle, the Sheffield one. So it's like we're not even being able to connect on theory right now because you lot are jumping to different areas.
So what about the Sheffield United game then? What do you think about that?
Well, I didn't even get to explain the other 2 because he cut me, Fleck.
all right.
That's real. That's a real thing.
All right.
That's happening.
All right.
What's the story?
Carry on.
What's the story of the Sheffield United game?
So with the Coventry game, we have an issue where on the rest defense we were extremely weak. By the way, we couldn't configure a team that actually plays the 11 players for Casemiro in defense. So you're gonna we had clear weaknesses in the way that we were playing because the players are not available. One, but again, player mentality, 3 fluky goals. So we know that the players are poor in terms of mentality and application, and 3 not fluky goals, but kind of ludicrous goals, handballs, all these kind of things. That would happen under any manager, I would say, because of the quality of the player. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Casemiro flaying around doing the mad tackles, Fleck. That's any manager that comes in. Too cool, who cool, poo cool, anybody. That stupidness that Casemiro is doing happens. That's what the same stupidness with Rashi in that particular fixture. Who doesn't matter? The Zerbi, Herbie, Rurby, that's gonna happen. He's doing these things. So that's one thing with the Coventry fixture. That was that story of that game. We were imposing ourselves on the opponent, high press. The Ten Hag ball was happening. You saw that with the first goal. The fullback playing inside or very narrow. Not the fullback, the winger playing very inside or very narrow, with the fullback coming across and players like what Kenny's saying, attacking the very highest point of the forward line and getting a tap in. Scott McTominay, which, by the way, Fleck.
And how much do you think of? Yeah, go on.
Which, by the way, Fleck, you've mentioned in the sense of you was the first person for me that's coined Scott McTominay's role as a role. We were just trying to say you either sell him or not. But you could see it in that moment and many other moments as to why that's there. He runs from the midfield line while the build-up's happening into the forward line and gets tap-ins or picks up better positions because there's room for interpretation. Then you're Højlund. So that's one thing with the Coventry game as a whole that happened. Capitulation.
How much of that was due to the fact that Coventry are 8th in the Championship and are a shit team? So in the first half, they just let us have the Did you in the first half? Do you think how much of the 3-0 was down to Man United just outplaying them with tactical brilliance from Erik ten Hag and rest defense and 3-1-6-5 and box rest defense thing, all that? How much of it was that, and how much of it was? They were at Wembley and they let Man United have the ball when they were 3-0 down, and then they actually started to come out a little bit, and then the luckiness did happen. Then Sheffield United, how much of that was down to actually they did just play a 5-3-2 and sit off us for large parts where Casemiro's got space and time on the ball. He's won 5 Champions Leagues, it's not going to be that hard, so we're all on them. Obviously, individual mistakes happened. And then as soon as we came up against a team who's only one place higher, actually, second from bottom, but they do play a completely contrasting style, i.e. get 2 forwards up there who ain't great. They're still, again, this is a relegation team, minus whatever goal difference Kenny said, awful team. Yeah, minus 59. Awful team, going to go back down, right? But they played 4-4-2 against us and pressed. And all of a sudden, the percentage of possession is nowhere near the same. They're getting loads of chances on our goal, and they are second bottom in the league. So this stuff about Ten Hag's thing is so good, and this how we set it up. Why is that? How much of that is due to the different playing styles that we've come up against between Sheffield United, Coventry, and Burnley? Even though they're all 3 poor teams.
So if we're just focusing on the Coventry and the Burnley again, I think all 3 opponents played 2 strikers against us, because they understand that our defensive line is rubbish. It's just rubbish in terms of build up against the Burnley team. We didn't even get to impose ourselves because, like you said, Coventry to a degree did give us the football. But again, we were so rubbish. Like we were saying, we're not even zipping it with tempo. When the opponent does give you the football and sits off, you have to open them up. You were saying it. You have to open them up. You have to spread it wide. You have to play the ball fast with tempo. So we haven't got good enough players to even do that in that circumstance. And then we haven't got good enough players to protect the space in behind. We saw that against Burnley. So then they all played 2 strikers because, again, the two defenders are not good enough 1v1s, or they're just not good. They're not good enough 1v1 defending. They're not good enough 1v1 protecting the space. And then the second game against or the third fixture, because I can't remember that much about the Sheffield game in my mind, but I remember fully, wholeheartedly, the Burnley game. So the Burnley game again, it's 2 strikers again. So we have the build-up phase where how many times was Eriksen making poor mistakes? Casemiro's making poor mistakes. Maguire was making poor mistakts.
All right. Well, Luton played 1 striker. That game was close. Bournemouth.
Well, and also, how can we tell the story of the Sheffield United game when you say you can't remember it? That's part of the point, isn't it?
No, I don't understand what you're trying to say there.
Well, you're talking about the story of it, and then you slipped in just a second. I can't remember much of the Sheffield United game. That's important to remember the whole game if we're making the point about it. What I'm tired of, I'm tired of? I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of no accountability. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of comparisons. I'm tired of analogies. That's what I'm tired of. I'm tired of people comparing just Manchester United right now and seeing Arteta, for instance, and going, well, Arteta, he got time. So Erik ten Hag should get time. And you know what? For Marcel talking about stories, he's right in that aspect. Is each one's different. I was doing the reading earlier on Arteta and his time at Arsenal, right? Edu, right? Edu came in on the 9th of July, 2019. Unai Emery then had already been in there a year. And in his first season at Arsenal, he finished 5th and got to Europa League final. Now, the previous 2 seasons before that, Arsenal had finished 5th and 6th. So they'd gone, you know what? It's kind of where we are a little bit, isn't it? They actually bottled getting the top 4 that year. I remember they played Palace at home, didn't they? They walked off laughing and all that. But it wasn't working for Unai Emery. Edu came in and they went, you know what? Actually, we're going to make a change. And then guess what? When it did get bad with Arteta, what happened? They gave him a bit more time because it was his guy. Because he had gone to vouch for him, for his guy. It was his hire. And then looking at their totals each season then, finished 8th in that first half season, won the FA Cup. Next season, finished 8th again, but actually, he got more points. He got more points than he got last season. 61 points versus 56. Season after that, he finished 5th. More points, 69. Season after that, finished 2nd, 84 points. Jurgen Klopp, I can't even believe people do the comparison with the Jurgen Klopp one. They go, oh, Jurgen Klopp finished 8th in his first half season. Even though that season he got to a League Cup final, Europa League final. Next season after that, 4th. Next season after that, 4th, Champions League final. Next season that 2nd, Champions League winner. Next season after that, he won the league. So each season there was progression. So already we've removed those comparisons. Let's move those comparisons at the side. And then the other analogy, people point out, they go, we've got to break the cycle. We're stuck in the same cycle. The moment that Sir Jim Ratcliffe purchased 27% of Manchester United and signed on the dotted line, we were already in a new cycle. The cycle started again that day. So the idea of, if we just get rid of Erik ten Hag now, or if we get rid of certain players now, we're just repeating the same cycle. We're not. There's different people making decisions at the moment. The decision has to be made by INEOS and by those new people above them. Do they think Erik ten Hag's the right man for the beginning of this cycle? That's what it is. And I don't get me wrong. I understand mitigating circumstances. I understand injuries and stuff that's happening off the field. But what we've got to do is stop ignoring facts. Like I've seen people sharing this last season. We got the most wins in Europe last season, just ignoring a lot of the context. We played the most games last season. So that's why we won the most games. And we went far in the Europa League. Because if I brought up this season and said, oh, we didn't win as many games this season, what would be the answer? Well, we didn't play as many games this season. So why are we're just focusing on last season? We have to ignore this season's stats as well. And for me, when I see the performance of the weekend and I see the performances recently against championship sides, like I've said, I'm tired of excuses for the manager. I'm tired of excuses for the players as well. They all need to go. That's why when this story came out today from INEOS saying that everyone's got a price, I went, good, because everyone should get a price. Nobody should get a blanket pass. We're so focused on looking at one point of failure. It's got to be the manager. Got to be the players, got to be the medical department, got to be this. They're all shit. They're all terrible. They all need to go. Maybe some quick than others, but we're talking in cliches at the moment. And it's so tiring. It's so tiring, especially when they're not comparable. Like I said, I do agree with Marcel's point that it's different. Our circumstances now are different to, so people even try to do the Pep one. Pep got time. Pep won the league in his second season. What's that even? That's not even a comparison. So all of these comparisons that people are pointing out, there is no blueprint. You have to look at the facts, look at the details, look at Manchester United at the moment and say it needs massive issues. And also the biases are getting so out of hand that people that are being linked with Manchester United, we're discrediting their CV. What's Thomas Tuchel ever won? I'm not even the biggest Thomas Tuchel advocate, but what's Thomas Tuchel ever won apart from the Champions League? Well, it doesn't really count. It doesn't really count. He won the Champions League. He got to a Champions League final. It's madness. It's madness what we're doing. It's nuts. And then to the point where Ralph, he's going to become the Bayern Munich manager at the moment. And that for them is a sign that Ralph was good. Well, he's going to Bayern, so he must be good. Well, the guy that's currently at Bayern, apparently he's not good enough. What are we doing? We're just ignoring so many facts. And I don't get it at the moment. I don't understand.
No.
Sorry, I just want to say thank you to the NHS, to the nurses, to the doctors, the teachers, the nursery staff, everyone that's making society a better place. Guys, it took you 40 minutes to come. I've been waiting to talk about Rashford, but we went to Ten Hag. Can I just say on the Rashford thing, I only want to talk about the Rashford thing because my stance on, you guys know my stance on this season and Erik ten Hag and everything. Rashford's going to be left-wing Manchester United next year. He's not going anywhere. I think it's good for him to leave. I think because it's a good opportunity for a fresh start for him and also for a fresh start for the club. But I will be honest, just on the point of, what Owen made about all the different managers and the comparisons. Edu vouched for Arteta. That was his guy. And no one is telling me that INEOS have not come in with their manager in mind already. I know that. I feel like they definitely do because they had their CEO in mind. They had their head of recruitment. They had their sporting director. You can't tell me that the one thing that they haven't really thought about and they're still trying to figure out is the manager. This season has been a regression from the last for many different reasons. I mean, as if the Champions League run wasn't embarrassing enough. The Premier League run has been even worse. Let's put it like this. Erik ten Hag has to get 10 out of 12 points to tally and total and equal David Moyes' season, which is dubbed as the worst season post Sir Alex Ferguson under Manchester United. we have to get 10 out of 12 points in the last 4 games. Yeah, he finished on 64 points with 20 plus goal difference. That means we have to score 20 goals and keep 4 clean sheets in our last 4 games. So we have to score 5 goals a game against Newcastle, Brighton, Arsenal, Palace, just to be level on our worst season post Sir Alex Ferguson. And I know context is a big thing, injuries, etc. That's a big factor. But when you've spent over 400 million in two windows, you know, we talk about the style of football. Marcel spoke about Ruud Gullit speaking about Erik ten Hag and criticizing, you know, the vacant midfield. It's been evident that it hasn't been working. It's been evident that it's not been working since the Wolves game at the beginning of the season, since the Spurs game at the beginning of the season. But Erik ten Hag has persisted with it. Even in the Coventry game, we talk about the lack of changes, you know, from the manager and the coach and staff. We've seen that throughout the season. But if we talk about just the FA Cup semi-final, whenever Erik ten Hag, for some reason, has been poised with a tactical change from the opponent, he doesn't know how to answer it. Last year, you know, I think it was Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. First 30 so minutes, I think Potter made a change, and so did Erik ten Hag. Since then, I don't think I've ever seen that. He was reactive in his first couple months. I don't know if it's to implement and stamp him the way that he's trying to play, but this season in particular, that has not been happening. And I told you lot, like, we're here talking about stories. Stories, guys, come on. Is that how we're analyzing football now? We're talking about stories. The only story I'm listening to is Love Story by Taylor Swift. Shout out to all the Swifties. I don't want to hear stories when we're talking about every game. It defeats the point of football. Football is not a story, bro. It's not
That's
a story.
What
you're telling me you're telling me football is analysed as if I'm in flipping English literature GCSE class. Absolutely not. It's not analysed like that. It's not a story. Let's get past that. And as for everything else, man, you guys know my my stance on everything. Super chats.
I'm gonna get to the super chats.
I want to. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, let me, and then the floor's yours, KG. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on in this full view. I'm not gonna lie. K Mill. Let me actually bring them up. K Mill says, KG and Marcel trying to one up each other to become UV's version of Ty. KG's just been chilling the whole episode. Marcel's still doing his top 4 calculations. Haha, Monty Singh.
Top 3.
Ugwa says structural integrity. LOL. Marcel, how about strength of material? Everybody is for sale. Good luck to Rashford if he goes to Arsenal for the right price. And Killen says, please put on a beat, a bet. I think it must be, or on a beat. Eminem speaks. I think right. Saying she's like Eminem. Right. Speaks. And we will have a good rap god song. She's spitting fire, coming like Eminem there, you know they're saying. Chala Boy Comics says, I'm coming to Marcel's defense here. Watch Jude's interview on TNT and you'll understand what he's saying. Then watch Muller critique of Bayern versus Leverkusen. When Jude said, look, the difference playing here is, you know, we got the freedom to express ourselves. And I hear that.
Get them to watch it. Get them to watch it so they can interpret it for themselves.
Yeah. Okay. So that means that's exactly what, you know, Ten Hag's doing. Damilola says, you are giving low IQ footballers the freedom to express or interpret. No wonder we are where we are. Lil Yo-Yo comes through, says Marcel reads 100 pages of a thesaurus each morning. Is that true, Marcel?
No.
It's just there. It's just logged already. You don't need to read it every morning. It's just in there. The thesaurus is already there. Aslan said, if a team is 6th and another is 19th, they have a way better squad. If the team in 19th outplays the team in 6th twice, they are better coached. So simple.
Simple.
Very simple to me. We also struggled against Burnley away as well. I remember them hitting the post straight away. They were on us, and Nana had to make a save. He had to get the Jing Bang Bruno wicked volley and get out. It was horrible. I remember being there. Matt says, we have to blame Ten Hag for streaky football and lack of consistent style of play, and the players for the schoolboy errors they keep making, which is, you know, evenly distributing blame. Don't mind that. Ugo says, it's time to talk about players. Check the clock, Owen. Yeah. Crash Illustration with another big super chat, by the way. Big up to you. Says, I've got a serious question for everyone. Where do y'all see United in the next 5 years realistically? Scenario 1, INEOS backs Ten Hag. Scenario 2, they start all over again. Also, big ups Marcel's being late and telling stories. Got me listening intently. Listening to the stories there. K Mill says, apologies for butchering your name to Marcella on the other super chat, Marcel. My phone corrected your name. Don't know what it picked up on. Daminola says, Villa had same players when they were almost relegated. Emre came and see them in the Champions League place. Enough of this bad player narrative. Nathan, he also bought more as well. But yeah, there are a lot of players that was there under Gerrard. Nathan says, first half, Coventry let Man United have the ball. In the second half, their manager made tactical changes in the game. And Erik ten Hag sat down there and scratched his chin. Milan says, Marcel, why do we break so poorly? Same players had brilliant organised breaks under Oli, but Erik ten Hag, we are so poor. It's coaching, my dude. Ugwa says, may your cup remain full, Owen. Spitting facts. Waiting for United to win the premises. How do you know how different this new cycle is, Owen, when INEOS hasn't done anything yet? That is just assuming INEOS would do everything right.
They have done something yet, haven't they? They got technical director and new chief executive. We can't say they haven't done anything because they have. I mean, that's just, again, why are we ignoring the facts? Just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad or right. It's good or bad, by the way. But it's just said we can't say they haven't done anything because they have. I mean, that's.
But he's saying that you're assuming that they're going to do everything right.
I'm not assuming that. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying there will be change. When you say change, the assumption is that change is always good. Change can be bad as well. But factually, Manchester United are changing at the moment because, well, more of the club is owned by someone different, and we've got a new CEO and a new technical director, and the old ones are gone. That is different.
Olu Damile says, Owen, thanks a lot. You have voiced everything I wanted to say. There is nothing wrong if we haven't found the right manager, and Erik ten Hag is the wrong choice. That doesn't mean we can never stop searching for the right manager. And Waiting for United to win the Prem says, we need to stop using assumption about INEOS as fact. Billionaire Kofi says, can we scrutinize the coaches rather than Erik ten Hag? Not really. It's all part of this. They're his coaches. They're his guys. He's assembled the team, hasn't he? KG and Flex, do you still want Arsenal to win after City lost the treble? And we have a match against Arsenal, bigger picture or the here and now? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When the the treble thing was out the way, I did start looking at it a bit different. I was like, it would be funny if they don't win it, Arsenal, innit? It's just kind of, but I don't know, 4 in a row. I don't know. I think I'm still just slightly edging towards Arsenal, but what Don Robbie was on today, and that was just beating Spurs. The league would be crazy. Yeah, the league would be crazy. Monty Singh says, biggest reason I want Erik ten Hag gone for is that he doesn't do the basics right. Team selection, subs, Wan-Bissaka should be right back and Dalot left back, Ahmad over Anthony. And yeah.
Oh, you're going to press it? I was waiting for you to press it up. Well.
Sorry, Owen and Minna. Erik ten Hag stays with me. Simple.
Farah's in the chat, mate. Farah's in the chat. It's as simple as that. That's just what has to happen. Ken Christian says, ten Hag is the man for this job. Give him time. And Musa says, Owen, you say the manager and the players have to go. Do you think you can get rid of the manager and the players in the same summer? How? Fire Erik ten Hag for who? Careful.
I've got all the answers. Of course, we can't get rid of everyone in the summer. This is that's the assumption about rip it all up. I said it after the Coventry game. I said pretty much everyone, bar again a couple, their cards are marked. Now, some people will leave faster than others. That's the nature of the beast. Some people's contracts are coming up. Some people are easier to get rid of than others. And some, it might take a year. It might take 2 years. But all of them, all of it needs to go, apart from a bare few, for Manchester United to truly compete. And that might look, with Erik ten Hag, that might mean that he gets another year. And maybe that's what it will mean. But that'll mean that people, if you're not a Bruno fan, you're not a Rashford fan, they're probably going to be there next year. We know that. But their cards are marked. That's what it means. It's not when you say rip it all up, that means, we're just going to start from scratch. It's going to be like FIFA Ultimate Team. It's going to be opening packs. All of a sudden, we're getting players and managers. That's not how it's going to work. But I think that we're at the beginning, clearly, of a new cycle. And I think that, you know, the people involved making those key decisions are going to want to bring in their own people, their own managers, their own players, and then they'll back them. But it's going to take time to get rid of them all.
Before we get to KG, because the floor was going to be his, I'll tell you what, guys, we've got nearly 2,000 people watching live, 1,800 to be pretty much 1,900 to be precise. 305 likes though. That has been it's been a crazy show already. So please do smash a like on the video. Really, with nearly 2,000 people watching live, we can get 750 likes. Yeah, easy. I know we've been going for 50 minutes already, but like they just said there, hit the like button. Let's get 750 likes because it's a big boy show happening right now. KG, you was gonna come in before the big batch of super.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, man, I've been doing a bit of reading. I've been doing a spot of reading and stuff, which is always good. No, it's not bad. It's not bad.
In your book, in that football book.
No, not that one. Not that one.
Oh,
in my philosophy, in those kind of books and stuff.
Okay. I thought you meant the football.
No. Okay. But then it's just just about success and and winning and stuff like that kind of thing, right? And it's funny because a lot has to be learned from this season. I want to go for Ten Hag. This season would be one of the greatest teachers, even in the presser that he gave, recently. He spoke about what they tried to do last summer and having Rashford and adding an extra player, thinking Rashford's 30 goals plus Rasmus, that will make a big difference, this, that, and the other. Now, some things were unforeseen and he made mistakes. But my thing is now we've gone through this bad season. Well, what could he learn from this last season and his first season to improve on for this season? Those are the questions that I really have. While everything's bad, and it's hard because you're looking at the now and you're saying, well, this is terrible, just destroy it all and stuff. But life kind of doesn't work like that. If you look at major things, massive things, really big things, it doesn't work as simple as for the now and you move. Things are going to it will take time. And unfortunately, what we're looking for, all of us, is the quick fix for the quick feeling of, we're going to be okay now. But the problem is with the quick fixes, you're going to be back in a little while. It's like someone that buys those tires, worn tires, used tires already.
Yeah.
Part worn. It's not for the long term. This is a short-term solution for short-term happiness, but the long-term game, where is it? And now if you're looking at what's going on in the Premier League with the new, they're talking about the wage cap. There's a lot of stuff that's saying, you know what, guys, while this is a horrible pain and he has to be better, because I'm not saying this is acceptable from the manager at all. I'm saying that, well, what you're going to do is we're going to cut a lot of these players. Let's get rid of them. Let's keep going. Let's keep making big cuts. Let's keep reducing the wage gap while bringing young players through. We're actually resetting the clock. Unfortunately, it's talking about when are you going to win though? What we setting up for, because you have to have a design of where you want to go. When I do this in my career-wise, I will do this. I'll say, okay, let me look at what's going on. For other people, it doesn't make sense, but I know the journey that I'm trying to take. Yes, I can't look at this person. I can't look to my right and left. I know this is my own personal journey. And I think with Man United, what we're doing is, because we're so rattled by Man City winning title after title, we're looking at our biggest rivals in Arsenal, getting prepared to win titles. Some of their journeys have been even longer. Arsenal has taken them 20 years to get to this moment, and many years of mistakes. Liverpool has taken 30 years for what they have now, and it's almost destabilized. So we just got to be we really have to look at ourselves. We really have to understand, well, let's cut a lot of the crap out of us in terms of bad players, poor contracts, this, that, and the other, bring through youngsters. And then it's either Ten Hag will be the man for the future, or he's the man to clear the rubble so we can get on the right path. Because in that, we still
quick fix though, KG. Are they saying for a quick fix though? Because I don't think anyone's expecting us to get a new manager and win the league next season, or even compete for that.
But I believe that what happens is we get into this basis of, we bring in a new guy and the new manager bounce will happen. This Ten Hag's first season was a really good one, because it's a season that Liverpool are just about to have. It was a really good season and we all went crazy. Yes, oh my goodness, what are we going to do next season? Next season happened and the wobble happens because guess what? Mentality, some people that were just trying to ingratiate themselves to the manager for new contracts, all the little things that, again, alongside this mammoth of a club and expectation. And the Man United fan expectation is huge. Even if we said we won't allow INEOS to allow their new guy to finish 886, we're not going to do it because we don't trust INEOS. They bought 25% of the club. If the manager finishes 8 and then they go with him again and he finishes 8 again, we're going to say it's just an arm of the Glazers. So I know this is the journey. Like, it's not the same as Edu in that. It's totally different. Unfortunately, if INEOS came in and they said they bought all of the club, I think we'll be willing to listen to them. They're on a short leash with Man United fans. We're just trying to get excited because they represent change. They represent something different. And we're trying to be whole. Sorry about that. I don't know if am I better? No.
Marcel's given up now as well.
Marcel's given up.
Marcel said, "No, sod this. I'm off."
You're very much on a
Your
different
mic's
mic now.
off
Yeah,
yeah. I think you're on the headphone mic instead of. There you go. You're back.
I'm back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry about that. That's basically. I think I've made my point anyway, but I'm just saying that. I hope it made sense what I was saying. I hope it made sense what I was saying.
I get what you're saying. I mean, I think the point is that there is, and I do agree with parts of it in that, regardless of what decision INEOS make, there does have to be an element of patience, right? If they decide they're going to stick with Erik ten Hag, then there needs to be an acceptance that it's going to take a while, and maybe next season hopefully be better than this season. You would hope 3 years in it would be better, but because there are mitigating factors with INEOS coming in, and it is, for me, it's the start of something again. I think the last almost year doesn't really count for all that much because I think INEOS are looking at ripping it all up anyway. The decision is just do they want the guy who's still here to be here when they start again? If they go with someone else, there is still going to have to be that element of patience, but it's how low are you willing to let that line go? Because I think for a lot of Man United fans, they'll go, look, I understand there's going to be inconsistency. I understand there's going to be it's not going to be constantly perfect, but you do want to see a positive trajectory. And on top of that, to Kenny's point earlier on, what you can't really legislate for is playing 3 championship sides and 2 of them struggling against, at this part of the season when you're meant to be in the fight for minimum sort of top 4 or at least be pushing for it, let alone the title or anything like that. Is how low are you willing I know we say standards, but how low are you willing for the sort of standards to go for Manchester United anyway? Because that's what they might argue with Arsenal or Liverpool, isn't it? Yes, they didn't win for 20 years and they haven't won in the league yet. And I don't think they will this season still. Liverpool, 30 years. Why was that the case? Was it because of a constant rebuild? Was it because of mismanagement? Was it because they allowed the standards to drop to the level that they did? There are different circumstances. So there's an element of patience. Definitely. I do agree with that.
Musa says, I've heard that one already. I think it was Larry. Larry says that we keep Erik ten Hag beyond the summer and new contract is needed. Do we want players playing for a manager fighting for their job in their final year? And Obi-Wan Kenobi says, love the vibe of this channel. This channel feels like my channel. And it is your channel. It's every single one of you watching. It's all of your channels. This is, you guys make the community. You guys, come here every single day, every single show, and have your say. So big up to every single one of you, man, getting involved in the show. Just under 2,000 people watching, 460 likes. I'm so sure of it, guys, with nearly 2K watching. I'm so sure that we can get 750 likes. I know we can. I know we could do it. Ugo says, it's the lack of awareness from Erik ten Hag, KG. I think that was why you was saying what you were saying. And Stigby says, agree with Owen, 100%, or keeping it 100. Agreeing with Owen. And I said the other day, I think it was the morning show yesterday, Owen. I was just like, we're in that phase where it is tiring. It is draining. I do the thing of winding myself up. So on the match view, I said to Marcel or I said to KG, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I know what we are. So you know what? Just relax. There's no point getting irate. there's just no point, like, because it's not going to change anything. We are who we are, have to be patient. And then when I see it, then I just lose my head. I do. And then, like KG said at the beginning of the show, it's like, then we go into these, what end up being pointless arguments and debates. But how do we not do it? Because we're so emotionally invested in the club and we don't like what we're seeing. But then each side finishes their side of the coin. And it's like, well, okay, well, let's just carry on as we just was before we had this like massive argument. Then it's, you know, even some of the things of like some of the players of keep or sell. So I've done that on Saturday Social. You see some of the comments and some of the people sound so, so make this make sense. You want to get rid of Casemiro and Varane, but you want to keep Maguire who can't play a high line. And it's like, mate, like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, that's not. Like, we got loads of centre-backs to sort out next year. There's loads of things that need to happen. It's a matter of like, who's going to go for what money and who's more sellable. And I don't want to have to let Rafael Varane go, but his stats are he's only been available for 50% of the game since he's been here. Do I want a centre-back who can only play 50% of the games and he's my favourite guy? No, I don't. Do I want Harry Maguire? But that means I want Harry Maguire to stay, get the captain's armband back again and play 95% of the games. That's also not what I want or what I'm saying. And it's like, there just isn't that. You're just in this place of like irrationality where it's like, okay, well, as soon as one person says that, they just say everything what you haven't said, it basically means you mean that. I'm like, that's just not, it's just not
get off that bloody fence, Flex. That's what it is. Get off that bloody fence. You're not allowed to have feelings that you're unsure about. It has to be one or the other. If not, it's cowardice. You're a politician. You need to get off the fence. You're not allowed to change your mind as well. If you said something, 3 years ago, heaven forbid, you think something different with more information now. It is tiring.
Or mix zone, or you want to wait till you could just get in the mix zone and you can go to the presses.
Can I ask Minna and Kenny a question, please?
Go on.
I want to know why the players keep making mistakes at the end of the games. What are you lot attributing that down to? Because I'm confused.
I think it's coaching. I think it's the mentality. I think that we've had a situation on a number of occasions where defenders know how to defend. That's all they've done all their lives. But yeah, they become irrational. And it's a mentality thing. It's a pressure. It's a pressure on that individual, and that's through coaching. The coach should be saying, when this happens, we do this. You don't step up to there, you stay back here. And if I make a substitution and bring someone on, I'm bringing them on to do this role. So you should see if they bring Mason Mount on or bring McTominay on, he doesn't need to start saying, McTominay's going here or there. That's all they've done all week in training. So they go through all these scenarios. But for whatever reason, we cannot enact a scenario out where you're 2-0 up or you're 1-0 up, you're in the last 5 minutes, you do this. You do not do that. We saw it again at weekend at Erna. And Erna, why did he need to go for that ball? Would he give the penalty away? It was nowhere near it. It was nowhere near it. Wan-Bissaka had it, Casemiro or did a bad header or whatever. But that's down to how he's being coached. He should be told. He should understand the consequences of his failure. And this is what the problem is. Part of the problem is they don't understand the consequence of failure. In a lot of teams, they wouldn't play their game after. They would be told, they'd be dragged off, and they would know it. Look at Mo Salah the other day, right? Why is he not playing? Mo Salah's not starting because he ain't scoring goals, right? If that was Marcus Rashford at Man United, if Marcus Rashford had been fit at weekend, he would have probably started. And he's probably in worse form than Mo Salah. There's a mentality issue and a coaching issue. Sorry?
I was to say definitely.
No, but the point I'm making is, like you say, yeah, but no, there's a mentality issue. You can't. And it's not one game. It's consistent. Consistently concede more goals in injury time. We concede more goals in the last 10 minutes. Once we score within 2 minutes, we concede, and that's not just once. It's most games. That's got to be the coaching. They're doing something wrong, and somebody's allowing them to get away with it. They're allowing them to get away with it. Because you make a mistake once. Go on, Mina.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I think some of it is down to players. Some of it is down to coaching. I think individual errors, Casemiro doing what he did, that's him. That's not on the manager. That's not on the coaching staff. But one thing I will say is where I think there is a flaw in the way that the players are coached in this particular system is, when you look at specific systems in the Premier League and, Bournemouth have had a new manager coming in, Brighton, you look at Manchester City, who is, I think, the pinnacle when it comes to implementing a system. There is no room for error in possession. Players know where they need to be. That is clearly something that's been implemented in training sessions. Rodri knows where John Stones will be. He knows where Kyle Walker will be. He knows where Kevin De Bruyne or Haaland, etc. will be. But that is the pinnacle of a system. So it's unfair for me to compare it to that. But if I was to compare what Erik ten Hag is doing in particular right now with Manchester United, I think there's something being lost in translation between the players and the coaching staff. What the manager's telling them to do, sometimes the players look like it's like they're confused that, why am I doing this? I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go about X, Y, Z, Then you look at the goals that we conceded this year or in the last 2 years. One of the biggest standouts for me is some of it is individual error and some of it is a flaw in the system. Why do we receive so many cutbacks? How is United set up defensively in their back four? How are players told what players to mark and what players to track if it's not the system? It's not something that they decide on their own, the way that United set up. Right. Cutbacks for me has been a big I've been talking about the cutbacks since the beginning of the season. And I kept saying, why are we set up in a way that there is flaws in our system that allow us to be capitalized on, in particular when it comes to cutbacks? And for me, that's a flaw. When it comes to, errors, I think it's a bit of both. But then my question to everybody is, do you feel, and also to the audience, do you feel that the system is failing the players or the players are failing the system?
Oh, that's an obvious one. The players are failing the system. That's so obvious.
Why are you so sure on that, Martha?
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't there nuance to this? Isn't it both? Isn't it the players' job to try and execute what the managers?
I like to throw percentages on things. So to a degree, you're right. So
it's not all the players then.
Yeah, but for me, we've seen so many times systems. We've seen Mourinho's system. We've seen, like, in terms of winning first and second, in terms of winning Champions League, we've seen the systems. And then, the players don't get you to take that next step because it's more the players. So for me, that's why I'm going to jump straight away and say, the players. But then,
what's the consequence of error?
For a little bit, you do say, okay, there's a percentage here and there. But for me, work on these players and all the systems will look better. I'm not held.
What's the consequence of error? So if I'm a player, if I'm a Scott McTominay, I'm not cutting back and I'm not tracking back and I'm not picking somebody up, or I'm a Casemiro, what is the consequence of error? Because the consequence of error means that they consistently do it, but there is no repercussion. And this is the point I'm making. You've got Mason Mount. You have paid £70 million for Mason Mount. You, Erik ten Hag, have paid £70 million for Mason Mount. He's fit. He can play a midfield role. He can play a 6, an 8 or a 10. Right? Why are we not seeing him? When we know we are just being run through. Eriksen overrun again. How did Eriksen stay on that pitch and Cubby Mary come off at weekend? You tell me. And I like Eriksen.
He said that he's trying to. What he has said is he's talking about trying to protect some of the players. So the players that he doesn't want to get injured is Cobby, is Garnacho, because they're so important to our system. So we have to, in those players, we have to protect them. So when we talk about the consequence of errors, I know.
Yeah, all right. So why not bring Mount on for Eriksen? Because Eriksen was the problem.
In fairness with Mount, like he literally just came back from an injury and has only been on the bench. I think that's with Mount specifically. That's probably that case. He's just been injured.
But that's with loads of players, Owen, because throughout the season we've consistently had injuries. So when we're talking about consequence for error, he's had to manage a decimated squad. It's very hard for us to produce consequence for error throughout this season when it's been decimated. What he's been able to
the decimated 11 though, even the decimated 11 was better than that Sheffield United 11 was better than the Burnley 11.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. I can't live with it. Yeah.
So it's still a team of international players, isn't it? It's still a team of international players. We can't overlook. We can't lower the bar that much and just go, those players, they're just terrible. They can't beat anyone in the league. If we start, because again, this is why I was pushing back on KG the other week when he was saying about Brentford better players, blah blah blah. But then you go, well, this team beat Brentford, but we beat this team. Like if we're going to do that, we beat Aston Villa twice this season. Is our team better than Aston Villa? You would all say no. We can't look at it like that. It's a team of international players. Exactly. So at home,
You do over
when you're playing a championship team, and we played 3 championship teams
Correct.
consecutively, even a team that's decimated with injury, with international players that aren't as fluid as the other team, still should be good enough to beat those teams that are lesser quality. Because again, that was still a team, even like a Christian Eriksen. We can go, oh, his legs are gone. He's still an international player that will play for Denmark at the Euros this season. A lot of them are international players.
Would you say agreed? Yeah, but would you say when we do get onto the can you not hear me? Is that
Yeah,
me?
It's
echoing a little
Marcel.
bit.
Yeah, I just muted him.
Marcel wants to come in and after you as well, KJ.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. This point of the matter is, when we do talk about the players, there's an issue when we watching the game with Flex, and I'm saying, bro, what the hardest thing for me is, even whatever formation system you set them up in, we're not passing phase 1 in terms of the phase 1 pass. Forget about where this player is and that player is. We can't even find the first man. And you know that minute when I got up and stormed out, it's because I've watched the whole game of not finding phase 1. So forget even trying to get into starting the system. And that's a big problem for me. So when we do talk about all these teams that we're apparently better than, well, my thing is, we've only looked better than one team this season in terms of control, and that was Sheffield United. And we still struggled with that one. Isn't
that the biggest problem? Isn't that right there? What the biggest problem is? The fact that we say that this team is not better than us. Like player for player, man for man, from 1 to 11. So we already eliminate talent.
We have to address two things,
more talented individuals. So it must be a team thing.
But we have to address the two things, though, because we need, for us to even understand that, we do have to pass phase 1. We do have to be able to pass from A to B on that simple, on that alone. We have to do that. And for some strange reason, we can't. So now when you're getting into games where, and this is not an excuse, this is not to say the other side is not true, but then there's the other part of, well, that's where the bums go at the end of the game when you got 6 minutes to go and you're 2-0 up and you lot can't hold on to the ball, because we've seen it. These men feel uncomfortable in the ball, and I don't understand. I don't know if that's the coaching as well and the players, but they should be able to be comfortable to hold the ball for 5 to 6 minutes. But they make mad mistakes, mad decisions, and it doesn't make any sense. You're talking about throwing the ball out for a goal kick, and then everyone bumming up in the IQ in-game management that is on players.
But you know where that stems from?
For me.
That stems from trauma in the season that started from early and snowballs. So what I mean by that is, when we're in that period where we've conceded late against Brentford, we did it against Chelsea, we've capitulated against Copenhagen, we've capitulated against bloody Fulham, we've capitulated. There's so many capitulations. Coventry, bums nearly went then,
Arsenal.
There's so many. What it is, and so instead of looking at it as it's so nuanced, to just say like, well, it's not a coach, it's more the players because they just keep making the mistakes. Like, it all stems from somewhere. I know. I'm just saying. I know you're not saying that. And when Marcel was saying like it's just the individuals, my pushback was like, well, if you want to do the story of football, like in Marcel's term, like every 90 minutes has its thing. If you just look at the game of football, every single thing that happens in a game where there's a goal or a free kick or something, you can always lead it back to an individual area. Unless somebody picks up the ball and, does a Ryan Giggs against Arsenal and runs through everyone and scores a worldie, which that happens far less than like, let's trace how this goal happened. Oh, it came from him giving away the ball. Then that led to that. Then that led to that. Oh, it came from the keeper. I'll tell you what, near post. Oh, it came from the wall wasn't in the right place. Mistake. Oh, it came from he tried that pass and it got intercepted because that pass wasn't on. Oh, then there was a counter-attack, which led to a 2-2v1. Then they scored. Everything, every goal, every moment, every throw-in or a tackle, so it is traced back to some form of mistake. So a game of football has mistakes. Like you can't not say it doesn't. Like,
Look how we scored at the weekend.
Look how we scored. Like, we scored against Liverpool. Xander Berg had to give away the ball, and we had to nick it, and then Anthony was through. So if they didn't make that mistake, we weren't going to score, essentially. So the game is about mistakes. That's what it is. Like everything, every goal, every foul, every decision, everything. So realistically, you have to look at it and say, you can't just say it's all just about players keep making mistakes. That's the reason why. I'm telling you now, Everything will be fine with the manager. The players just need to stop making mistakes because football doesn't work like that. When Man City concede a goal, someone made a mistake. Rodri did something stupid, or Devin De Bruyne or Akanji tried to step out and got caught. They were too high up. One ball over the top. Nicholas Jackson's in. How did Chelsea get all them chances against Man City? Like in that game, Man City kept making mistakes. They're getting done. Like it happens, even the best teams. So we can't just keep saying that for me.
No, I agree.
They're playing the risk football. So that's how Chelsea keep getting those mistakes. City are playing the risk football. They're playing the football that risk. So just on what we were saying before in terms of how can a group of players have a better a set of players than the other, I feel like the football is styles. The game is about styles in a sense. And each moment is about styles. So the reason why
Marcel, hold that thought. It's just because KG needs to go. KG needs to go. So big up KG.
Parental duties.
Coming on the show. Parental duties. He's out of it. He's out of it. Big up.
Big up there.
Yes. So back over to you, bro.
Yeah. So I feel like what those kind of teams have to do. So for example, what Coventry had to do, or what any team against us has to do in terms of counter-attacking, they're not required to play possession football or more beautiful football, for want of a better word, than what we're having to do. So they're tasked with staying in their half and protecting their goal, whereas we're tasked as going into their half with our 11 players to try and break down their 11 players and score. It's a different task. So it doesn't matter. You could give me 22 players.
But Burnley weren't doing that though, bro. Burnley weren't just going, I tell you what, we'll just sit here because they're going to come out as they're tasked with trying to break us down. So let's just... Sheffield United did that. Burnley didn't. Burnley went 4-4-2 old school, went toe to toe.
Yeah,
so possession, more possession. So it isn't that style, isn't that? Vincent Kompany's not saying just sit in there if we can nick something. He's saying go toe to toe with these. They're shit. That's what he's doing. And actually, that's his style. That's his philosophy. He plays that against everyone.
Yeah, exactly. So that's his style and philosophy. And with that, we can see Ten Hag's obviously mentioned there's no patterns in the defensive line. The defensive line is decimated. So you're going to get this kind of heavy mistake scenario. But with Coventry and Sheffield and the inferior teams, they're tasked with counter-attack. And we offer them so much space in behind to run. And if we can't even get past the first phase, because that first phase is very risky because every single one of their players is in their half, you have this kind of problem. That's the players.
But isn't that Marcel? Then we're saying if we can't beat a low block, we can't beat if they go against us, and we can't beat if they're better than us. So who can we beat then? That's what I'm talking about. The excuses. These are the excuses I'm talking about. It's like it's everyone. There is a percentage of blame on everyone, and it's just I don't have any time for it anymore. This whole just the thing when it's just like, oh, wow, they did a low block against us. Oh, wow, it's individual errors. If individual errors happen every single game, if you concede a goal, like we have since February, near enough every game, we have conceded in the last 10 minutes. Eventually, it stops becoming a one-off. Eventually, it starts becoming, right, as a coach and as players, right, because it's an equal blame. But from a coaching point of view, you go, right, if we keep doing this, when it gets to 80 minutes, instead of me saying, keep the ball, how about I make some subs? How about I make some subs and I change some shape or whatever? And how about if those players do make a mistake, I don't give a shit if I've got to play a youth player in the next game. I'll drop them and I'll do some. We've got to make some consequences. And again, it's accountability. If you're a Manchester United player, a senior player like Casemiro, right? He makes a mistake against Burnley. Have some accountability. You're playing near bottom of the league, a championship side. Have some accountability. I know we're struggling at centre back. Tough shit. We'll find a solution. We'll do something else next game. And the same with Erik ten Hag. If you're drawing with the bottom of the league, near bottom of the league, you've got to have accountability. It's just, again, we
if he doesn't manage, if he doesn't manage the consequence of error, INEOS will manage the consequence of error, and the consequence of error will be Erik ten Hag. That's the way they'll see it. Because they're expecting. You can't expect Brailsford to be shouting from the stand, hey, McTominay, get back there or whatever. That's the coach. That's the coach. What Brailsford is seeing and what Radcliffe are seeing are what the coach is doing. And it's not working for whatever reason. For whatever reason, it's not working. We can all agree on that, surely.
Ugwa says, I don't think the fans and INEOS trust Erik ten Hag to be the person to grow with. He has not shown enough to keep him. We don't look like a team. Bazilo says, ten Hag is not a bad coach overnight. Similar with Ancelotti at Everton. He has been awful and we have a bunch of average players. Both can be true. And Basilio says one thing we need in the summer are dual winners. Don't have enough of those. Matt says, to be fair to Eric Ten Hag, the model at Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal is getting rid of the players which couldn't keep up the manager's demands. But at the same time, their respective managers gave them something to believe in. I agree with that. Like the buyback, you can't just, us just players. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to earn any trust or show any glimmer of improvement. Just players. You can't do that as a manager because you're going to get sacked.
Can I say on that as well?
Yeah,
some of the players that the club need to sell are the players that the manager brought in. So that is another part of the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said with that one, because I thought that with the Arteta one, I was looking at it earlier today. I thought, curiosity, 8th and 8th. What did those 2 8ths look like? And the second season, he did get more points. So even if you're being really sort of, because Arsenal were rubbish at that time, pedantic about it, thanks, Kelly. You could say, well, he got more points. There is progression. In all of those examples, there wasn't regression like we've seen this season. And that's a problem. That is a massive problem.
That's what's most alarming. Red Baron says, Owen, do you like In Flames? Love that band. Also check Slowsis band from UK. Big them up.
I don't know them. I'll have to check them out.
Interesting. Joe Fleming says, Eric Ten Hag should be able to bring calm under pressure. And Ahmad says, I agree with Kenny. A good manager creates a strong team mentality. And Splashnet says, Eric Ten Hag is at fault for the injuries because he refuses to rotate ever thought of that, Marcel. He constantly drains the players. Abney says, sure, players are failing the system when 1 to 2 midfielders are asked to cover 60 meters of space in the middle. And Red Baron says, we haven't had a setback for how many games? Foundation is built on back fours. We haven't had a setback for how many games? Foundation is built on back fours. If it's decimated, good luck building a house without a floor. And Kyle says, players fail the system. There is a difference between ability and quality. Lesser quality teams play the same. Martinez and Maguire have quality, but different abilities. And Shanor says, the manager and players have had a hard time with injuries, domestic issues, and bad medical advisories, resulting in confidence and momentum being lost. Please do give the players and manager more time. So just be persistent and patient with it all. Basilo says, Eric Ten Hag signs a ball-playing keeper, and then we play hoofball, and signs a number 9 whose strength is not holding up the ball. And we play long ball, misprofiling. Ugra says, letting Marcel cook will burn down the house. Marcel, are you good at cooking in general? Can you cook?
I'm all right. I'm all right.
Yeah? Okay. Yeah. Maybe we should do a little UV come dine with me or something.
Marcel did poison me once, actually. Marcel gave me food poisoning. He bought me bad fruit.
Yeah. I remember that. K. Christian says, Eric Ten Hag lacks the player profile to fit his style. And Shenanigans says, Onana, Bruno, Dallo, Garnacho, Rashford, Rasmus, McTominay, Maguire, Casemiro, Mainu, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof. Most used players this season in order. 10 of the 13 were here before Ten Hag arrived. We need a clear out. Kevin McAllister says, the manager hasn't said anything that makes sense to me all season. Constant madness out of his mouth. Where are we at now? I think we've got it. Where are we at for likes as well? How are we doing? 529 likes, guys.
Very good.
Pretty steady. Yeah, pretty good. We can still do better. We definitely.
I've got a different number than that. I've got 608.
Oh, 608. There you go. It was just going round. 608. Yeah. There you go. 614 now. There you go. I'm up to speed. But yes, we can still push for that 750. There's no reason why we can't. And I've read that one already. And while we've been live, there's a piece coming out from the Times. Little bit of updates on sort of the squad and what's going on. Man United are hoping to cash in on Mason Greenwood this summer. In 2023, they valued him at 30 to 40 million pounds. Also, Man United will listen to offers for Anthony, Harry Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, and Christian Eriksen this summer. And it also says regarding Mason Greenwood, Man United are hoping to cash in on him this summer, but have not ruled out the possibility of him returning to Old Trafford next season if they do not receive a reasonable offer. So, a lot of the early signs around, the aftermath of what happened with Mason Greenwood was very much centered around, you know, it's never going to come back, etc., etc. Then Sir Jim sort of left it quite open-ended in his answer to it. But a lot of the reports were suggesting it's very much a matter of time for he stays away from the club and gets a move away. But that report there from the Times sort of suggesting that, you know, under this new ownership, if the right money isn't found, they may keep him. Missed one, says Joe Fleming. Which one did I miss? Which one did I miss? The manager hasn't said anything. Eric Ten Hag lacks player profile. Oh, I think it was this one. No, did I say Eric Ten Hag lacks the player profile to fit his play style from Ken Christian? Did I do that? Oh, if I have missed one, yeah, if I have missed one, let me know. I don't think I have, but Joe says I have. So let me know, guys. Let me know. And McTominay just provides a injury update himself, actually. And Scott says, I slipped and felt awkward on my knee, similar to against Chelsea. Nothing serious, just hyperextension. But I was angry and upset that I thought it was worse than it was. Hoping to be back on the pitch very soon to help the team as much as I can. So Scott McTominay sort of saying it's not as bad as first feared, his knee injury. But yeah, he's hoping to be back very soon. Very, very soon.
Was it this one you missed, Flex? Was it that one? Eric Ten Hag should be able to be calm under pressure.
No, I think I read that one. No, I'm sure I read that one.
They said it was his.
Oh.
But
okay. Well, we yeah. If not, there you go. We've made sure we've done that. Crazy show, guys. Crazy show.
Oh.
You know,
entertaining.
crazy show. Yes. In the before we go, as they say in meetings and Zoom meetings and Microsoft Teams, any more before we wrap up.
Well, actually, I'd like to ask myself something. So we were aiming. You said aim for third, aim for top four. Mathematically, now it's impossible. So what's the new aim?
Just to finish the season now. I don't think we can.
No, you can't.
I don't.
You can't have that. No, you're not copping out. You're not copping out.
I'm not copping out. I'm not copping out. Like you said before, we can change opinions. So, you know, we had that ambition and that aim. Obviously, the way that we've been playing now has not been good enough. Obviously, that's played out. So it's to finish the season now. You can see the injuries and the situation throughout the season and has hindered us massively. The players. You know, the way that Ten Hag, he's exposing us. I think there's a good benefit from what's happening right now. He's continuing with his style. Hopefully, the relationship between himself and Wilcox it gets strengthened throughout this period, and they're able to come and find a common ground, and they're able to handpick what needs to change now. So this is extremely, in terms of, because I'm always positive and optimistic for this football club, this is extremely good news right now. They're setting up still within their style, and you're seeing it dismantle because they're inadequate footballers playing in this system. So it's fantastic news, but the new aim now is to complete the season with as much as possible these principles.
So where do we finish? So where do we finish? The question was, where do we finish?
I said after Burnley, you know, that you should play counter-attack now. Because you know that's maybe the best way to mitigate this situation within because his system he just can't do it right now with these players. So you know, play the counter attack till the end of the season.
So now when there's 4 games left of him,
where do we finish? Where do we finish? Do you think that was the question initially?
I would say 6, maybe 6 or 5.
We have to get Europa League. We have to.
6.
Well, here's one actually. Do we win a game? Do we win a game between now and the end of the season? There's 4 games left, right? There's 4 games left. There's Palace, Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton. They're the 4. Do we win a game between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, we'll beat Arsenal and we'll beat Palace.
Palace away and Arsenal at home.
Yeah, we'll beat Arsenal and Palace. We'll definitely beat those 2, Arsenal and Crystal Palace.
We'll definitely beat them.
Yeah. But can I just say the last thing that I wanted to say for any more?
Of course.
You know, at the end of the day, if you guys want to get rid of Ten Hag, please make sure the new manager that comes in back him fully, guys. There's gonna be difficult, and this is not even like for want of a better word, a normal difficult period where there's like there's a clear mitigating circumstance with all these injuries, you know, and you know he hasn't, and just the stuff outside of the club and situation with other players, it's really dismantled what the manager's been trying to do. So if the new manager comes in, please back him fully. There's going to be a difficult period because, again, like I'm saying, the percentage of the poor quality, especially the quality of winning the Premier League, especially the quality of coming second or competing, especially the quality of winning the Champions League, it's just not there in this club. So the open heart surgery is still yet to be done. So please back that new manager fully. I will be doing it. And I said De Zerbi to come in next, but I really think we'll be.
What do you think of that, Marcel? Because he's on a torrid run, mate. I tell you what, I was counting today. He's got, I think, 1 win in 8.
Yeah, again. So what
would
I
you
think
back
about
Gareth
that is,
Southgate? Would you back Gareth Southgate?
Yes, I would. But so what I was just about to say before you said that was the reason why. What I think about De Zerbi is I like the style of football. That's
what style of football? They're fucking trying to play football with your worst players are usually the ones with the defenders, and he keeps making them try to play football. He gets smashed every week.
Yeah, they're against really good opponents usually.
What, Luton?
De Zerbi we're talking about here.
Yes, he got smashed off Luton.
I haven't watched the game. I haven't watched that game. I haven't watched that game. But I like. Mate, generally speaking, Fleck, I like his style of football. And I think that's the main point for me. But I will back anyone. If it's Southgate, I will back him. And I will try to see the avenues of which to get the squad better and operating better than what it currently is. Because I still think it's the players. So for me, it's about the style of football that we go down. I think Ten Hag has still got a good style of football that he plays. And we just need better players to play it, man. That's as simple as that for me.
Minna, any closing statements?
No, Marcel, don't ever change, man. Don't ever change.
Absolutely. I agree. Co-signed.
Yes, I'm sure Marcel will not ever change because he's just, true to himself. That's how we all need to be, 100%.
Yeah.
Guys, wicked show, man. Hour and a half special. So many of you guys getting involved. So many super chats, so many comments. What have we got coming up for you guys this week? Tomorrow, obviously, the morning show, 9 a.m. Flexing KG show at 6 p.m. If there's any breaking news in between that, of course, we will keep you up to date with that. Remember, like we always say, he's gone now as well, but KG's included in this. The links are always in the video descriptions below, but subscribe to everybody's channels. Minna's is there. Make sure you subscribe to her channel. KG's channel is there. Link is there. Owen Wrestle News 36555. His channel is there as well. And make sure you follow the guys on all of their other endeavors as well. Marcel, I know you're making a lot of appearances on Saeed's channel. Make sure you guys check out that when he's on there representing the United view. Keep going, Marcel. I know you're having a hard time on there sometimes, just like here. But keep flying that flag, mate. Keep flying that flag. And of course, big up to Kenny as always, man.
King of the bowls, Kenny. King of the bowls.
He's
a winner.
I'm in my balls here. I've been bowling today.
Go on, Kenny. Guys, smash the like on the video. Thank you for everybody who has taken part in the stream.
There's a few more super chats. By the way,
I'm going to get
a few more.
2 sticks. Let's get to that. There you go. Comments. Where did we get to?
705
Liam.
likes left.
705 likes.
There, guys.
Yeah, we can nearly get on the way out. Liam Ferron says, keep Eric Ten Hag for one more season, then see what happens. And the front room says, Dallo and Mainu, only 2 players that have earned their places. INEOS going to be shopping at Aldi, buying the yellow stickers on sale and reduced price. Hiding behind FFP nonsense.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
we're laughing.
You might get some good bargains, mate. Yeah, exactly.
Vegas is coming back.
100%. Oh, gosh, mate, honestly. 713 likes on the way out. I'm sure you can get as close to 750 as you can as the stream comes to an end. Big up to each and every one of you for getting involved. And we will see you tomorrow morning on the Morning View, 9 a.m. Take care. Peace.